Refresh.
Refresh now. I to make me one. I think I will be one. Getting that now. So, that. Yeah, what is it?
Have you seen me?
No.
Lọ sórí channel mi. Kó refresh ẹ̀, kó wá lọ sí go live streaming. Ṣé ò rí Itunu Gbadamosi ni Aremu? Turn to video. Turn to video. There is no time. Turn to video. Let me see what you are doing. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Ìpolówó nìyẹn náà. Close it. Close the X looking. Close this thing totally. Oh yeah, go to search. Search lókè. Itunu Gbadamosi. Tẹ àti Itunu Gbadamosi. Àti Itunu Gbadamosi. Èwo ní 2023. Kò dẹ̀ sí space. Yes, now. It's a ball. Remove the video here. Close the video here. So let's move on. Let me share my screen.
Close the video.
Close the video on WhatsApp.
Close it.
So today.
I don't know. Hold on, yeah. You can silent. You can only
Just mute it. Kò ní dèyìn sílẹ̀. Mute. Just mute it.
Hello?
Mute WhatsApp. Oh.
Okay, mute.
Mute WhatsApp. Mute WhatsApp from your side too.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You can be able to hear me from YouTube now.
Hello?
Can you see my screen?
Hello?
Can you see my screen?
Hello?
Can you see my screen?
I can see.
But you cannot hear me. Or what's going on?
I can hear you, but okay.
Let me reload it.
Hello? Oh, so bye.
Yes, you should be able to hear me.
Talk.
Can you see my screen now?
Ah, what did me do? I go
You should now.
but you love what. Hello?
You should be able to hear me now.
Hello?
Hello? You should be able to hear me now.
Yeah, but I'm hearing you from my laptop.
Mm,
From the laptop.
I don't want you to hear me on phone now. I know you're hearing me from laptop.
Before the man share about
And you can't compare WhatsApp to a live streaming now. So let's go. Live streaming. So today we'll be starting with data cleaning. What is data cleaning? So today we'll be starting with data cleaning. What is data cleaning? Data cleaning basically means you identifying and correcting errors. I briefly talked about it last week. It's really lagging. I can hear myself. And the reason is you have to mute one. Mute WhatsApp. Or is now you mute your laptop or you mute the WhatsApp. Which one do you want to do? I mute the laptop now. You can reduce the volume totally. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello, sir.
Okay, I forgot that you won't be able to hear me from
Yeah,
um
I'm hearing that
from the phone.
yeah.
Okay, so there's no clash again. So I said today we'll be starting with data cleaning, and I talked about it last week. And I talked about it briefly last week. So we'll be going into details about it. And what is data cleaning? Data cleaning is simply identifying and correcting errors. You have to correct inconsistencies and inaccuracies in data sets. I told you last week that if you don't clean data, it will affect you when you are doing the analysis. You will not have a quality data analysis, and it won't be a reliable data set. So, this is the introduction. Uh, Point one, it means that you need to correct errors and inconsistencies to improve dataset quality. The second one is data cleaning is essential for accurate and reliable analysis. It also ensures that information reflects the real world accurately. Now, what do we mean by accuracy? It means that when you clean data, it ensures that the information contained on the data set is absolutely correct. It also means that proofreading on essay to communicate the right message. By the time you are giving a feedback after analysis, you'll be able to talk about fact, not just assumption, based on the figures you've gotten in your analysis. It also ensures that all puzzle pieces fit together to reveal the whole picture. What is consistency when it comes to data analysis? Is using the same measurement in recipes for in recipe for clarity, and it's also standardizing formats and resolving differences. It ensures all information they are in uniform, and you can compare them easily, and you can also combine them. Completeness, similar to having all the ingredients to cook a delicious meal. It means that you have a good starter. That is what I mean by a good starter is you have a good basis before starting analysis itself on data sets. It also helps you in addressing values that are missing and outliers. Outliers, let me explain outliers to you. Outliers is, for example, you you draw a graph, and on that graph, um, you're supposed to have a straight line in the middle. Let's say a graph is going in a diagonal way because of the point in the middle. So they were able to draw a line there. Outlier will be outside of that line totally. The dot will not be close to it at all. That is an outlier. It means that is something not inconsistent with the other values in the data set. We'll talk more about that when we do um, real life application, when we do practical, you understand more. Let me move on to the next point. It also ensures that we have a complete data set for clearer understanding. Reliability is just easy. It means that you can rely on that particular data set, that it is of quality, and it's going to help you in making an informed decisions and meaningful conclusions. It ensures information is accurate and trustworthy. What do we mean by data integrity? The next one. Integrity is identifying and fixing errors to maintain trustworthiness of analysis. That is, you can be able to say this data is of quality and is dependable. It is also similar to a security guard checking IDs at a party. Okay, in a party, maybe they've invited their guests with particular set of invitation cards, and each invitation card has its own number. Maybe somebody outside, a stranger, also were able to see the design, believing in his or her mind that that design is something he can just do. He does not know that on the design it has an ID number. Once the ID number is not part of the list given to security guards, he can easily tell that. this person is not supposed to be here. He's not part of those people that were given IDs because his ID number does not even correlate, or maybe his design does not even have any ID number at all to even tell that he's part of the people invited to the party. So that is what they mean by giving that example. Then conclusion. Let's conclude on everything we've been talking about data cleaning. Data cleaning, never underestimate the importance of data cleaning. I said it last week. I said once you don't do a data cleaning, if your data is not of quality, it will absolutely have an effect on your data analysis process. It also ensures that insights drawn from datasets are accurate, reliable, and actionable. And that is data cleaning. Let's go to methods of data cleaning. We have the various aspects of data cleaning. Data cleaning is nothing but a step by step process. You must work sequentially to find the inaccuracies and deal with them one by one. I gave example last week talking about date of birth. Some people writing 12th of April when they were filling the form. Maybe they wrote 12th of April 2022. Another person wrote 13 dash 06 dash 92. It simply means that that particular data set is not consistent. They were not using the same format. So is it that they use 12 06 1992, or they use 12 slash 06 slash 1992? They have to be consistent. So if all the data set, let's say you have 100 rows of data set, and in 100 rows, all the date of birth must follow the same format so that when the analysis starts, it will be easy to even analyze a consistent data set. I hope you understand that. Can we move on?
Yes.
You are still in the baby data analysis. So the first one is
I can't hear you again. Okay, you can hear me now.
the first one is dealing with missing values. So I said it that sometimes people feel informations or details or forms online and they choose to leave some boxes. Absolutely, that's a missing value by the time um, you gather all the other forms together in an Excel sheet. That will be a missing value because the person did not even fill any information into it. So in data analysis, missing values are variables or observations without data. It's missing. There's nothing in that particular column or row or
Okay.
row. This is example of what we are saying. Look at this person now. Look at this column B, column letter B. You can see my cursor. This column is talking about the income of maybe particular company, their staffs. Now, or maybe income of people in a church. Let's use that as an example. In a church. Now, this person on line one, 2, 3, 4, 5, on line 5 decided not to fill that information. It is a missing value. This particular column, this particular box, cell, we call it cell. This particular cell is having a missing value because the person did not fill it. Another person, this is none. This none, sometimes we call it non-available number. That's what it means. So sometimes the information where it is gotten from, the person might automatically just fill it as non-available number, or The organization producing this particular details decided to fill all missing values with non-available number. So sometimes it goes that way. So let me go back. Missing values might result from data collection errors, incomplete survey replies. You see, that's an example I give when we have not even gotten there. I talked about surveys, forms that people fill online. So they said this is saying that missing values might result from data collection errors. It could be an error while collecting data. It could be that incomplete survey replies. People do not, you know, fill all the information being asked on a survey form. Then equipment failure or unrecorded data. So missing values in data analysis can skew. When it means skew, it can have a bad effect on statistical analysis, and it can also lead to erroneous findings if not handled handled properly rather. So this is an example of missing values. Then we'll go to strategies for handling missing values. We have imputation and we also have deletion. So let me talk about imputation. Imputation simply means it's easy, and this is how we go about it. For example, like this salary situation, we can actually find the mean of the numbers here in this particular column. Then the mean value, we will just insert it in all the missing values. Do you understand? We replace all missing values here with a average value, average of all the numbers in that particular column. If you put the average there, it will not affect your results at the end of the day, and it will also be accurate. Your data analysis will be accurate at the end of the day. So sometimes, and this is why they said imputation estimates missing values from data. So we use mean, median, and mode. Imputation are common methods for replacing missing values with the variables mean value, median, or most frequent value. Now, when we use, let me give you instances of when we use mode. When we use mode is, uh, let's say age. Yeah, age. Maybe somebody wrote, we realize that in, no, when we use mode, let's not use age. When we use mode, is most likely when a value is an, mm, we have integer. I'm trying to remember the name for the second one. I told you last week now. Integers are numbers, okay? Like this particular column now is integers because they are in numbers, and it's only numbers that you can perform mean on. You cannot perform mean on the other one. How am I forgetting this thing? I like to talk in terms of data analysis. We have integers and yes, I remember now. Strings. We call it strings. Any text, any text is called strings. So for strings, for example, location, location of people in the US. We have Washington, we have Texas. Those are strings. Now, the only time we can now use, in that situation, you can use mode. We will look for locations that are the most common in occurrence. So it means that tó bá jẹ́ pé people in Washington are the most occurred strings, we will use Washington to fill the missing values. Do you understand? Do you understand?
that.
Okay. So let's go to deletion. Deletion is you are deleting it completely. Sometimes we delete a whole column completely. What do I mean by that? For example, let's say that this column B, we have it also in column D. But by the time they filled it in column D, they wrote it in words. What I mean by that is they wrote, instead of writing 33,604 in figures, they now wrote it in words. Do you understand? It means that we are having the same information twice, which is not necessary. Do you understand? We will now pick the one that is most suitable, and the most suitable in this situation will be the one in figures. The one, so that is,
Network is okay. She back up.
can you hear me now?
Can hear me now. Yeah, can hear
Okay. So that is when we can delete particular column. Do you understand?
you.
So we move on from that place. Dealing with incorrect values, data points or entries that do not match the anticipated format, range, or pattern in the dataset are inconsistent or inaccurate. This one is easy to understand. I've used date of birth to make an example, and the example was some people were using slash, some people were using dash, and some people were using the name of the month, Gogo. They were writing 12th of April 2025. So that is an incorrect value because it is inconsistent. So it is your duty as a data analyst to clean that data by changing all the format to one format. Do you understand? To one format. Now, look at this is a very great example. This is a very great example. Look at age here. This particular line, line 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, line 6. This particular line is not following the trend of other ages, right? That's a missing value. And this is an incorrect value. So in this case, what do you think would be the right thing to be done?
Now, can use, like you said the other time, can use like multimedia with,
No, we can't use mode in this situation. There are, you need to know the situation, you need to use those things.
you know,
Do you understand? You can't just say,
like,
okay, let me use this one. No. You have to know what works for each condition. In this condition, I told you, in most cases when we use mode, it is for string issues, string type of data type. Those are the times we use mode. Mode is most occurring number, numbers that numbers that occur the most, or strings text that occur the most. That is when strings is most appropriate. But in this situation, you can only use average, mean of all the ages here. You understand? This is integers. This is these are figures. These are integers. So
yes,
in this situation, you will use mean, average. Mean is the same thing as average. So
okay.
we move on. Strategies for handling inconsistent value. Delete observations with incorrect values from the dataset to ensure accuracy and reliability. Then we'll move on to the next one. Several data types in data analysis. I was talking about different data types. We have uh, we have numeric data, discrete and continuous. Data that can only take specific and separate values. Numeric, just the way it is. Numerics are integers. Continuous, data that can take any value within a range. Within a range is, for example, age 30 to 40, age 40 to 50. So any continuous numeric data type, they are data type in a range. Do you understand? Within a range. Then categorical data. These are ordinal and nominal. Data that represent categories within a specific order or ranking. In specific order, example 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. Nominal data. These are represent categories with no inherent order or ranking. Nominal, they can be 1, 5, 7. That there's no ranking, there's no order. Now, you see what I'm talking the other time, integers. You see, integers are basically numbers. They are numeric. They can be positive, they can be negative, and it can be zero. They typically represented they are typically represented using a fixed amount of memory in programming languages and analysis tools. Examples include count. You can count numbers, you can count integers. Numbers of items sold, identifiers, customer IDs, indices, array indices in programming. Floats, whenever you hear float, they are talking about decimal points. Once they say mention types of data set, they say integer, strings, float. Once you hear float, it is point something, maybe 1.4, 3.6. Anywhere you see decimal points, do you understand? Or fractions. Those are called floats. You understand? The way I the way I store it in my head is float, something that overflow. Do you understand? Is more than one, 1.1, 1.2. That's the easiest way to remember when you hear float. That's something that overflows. So we move on. Objects, more generic and flexible compared to integer and float. Often used to represent strings. You see, objects, you can also call strings objects. Do you understand? The strings I was talking about the other time. Because texts are strings. Strings are objects. Can also represent complex data structures. These data types within a single column. See, see what they wrote. They said textual what? Data. You see that? So it can be names, addresses. You understand? They are in text. Now, when you hear Boolean, this is another data set, the data type. When you hear Boolean, it's talking about true or false, yes or no, one or zero. You understand? One means true, zero means false in data analysis, in computer generally. So it can only take two values. Booleans are either yes or no, true or false answers. It is commonly used for representing binary decisions. Example, whether a customer made a purchase. Did the customer make a purchase? Yes or no? You will say no if the person did not buy anything. You will say yes if the person did. Strategies for handling. Now, let me ask you a question. How many data types do you remember from this thing that we've talked about?
At least I can still say about, say that, I don't have one, I know about, you mentioned about 3 or 4 like that.
Oh yeah, mention them.
Was up to 3. I didn't put them down as I'm talking about it. I just want to listen to it before
Okay.
but,
It's good that you know it naturally. You understand? So let me repeat them. Let me say them without. So number one, integer. Integers are also, you can call them numeric. Number two, object or strings. Object is the same thing as strings. The third one, float, the one that overflows. Number four, boolean. the true or false data type. I hope you are
the
good.
data type. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, then we have nominal and um, ordinal. You see, and so on. Then yeah, a lot of data types. So there are more than this, but everything is derived from these basics. So these are basics data types. Now, strategies for handling incorrect data types. Sometimes data types of specific variables are incorrectly identified and needs to be converted to their correct data type. Example is that 26th of April 2025. You understand? We need to correct it to the correct data type. And the correct data type is either 16-04-2025. That is one of the most correct data type
The
for
correct
dates,
data type.
on computer that computer understands. Now, dealing with outliers. Outliers can see an example of outliers here. I was telling you the other time that assuming we draw a graph, one can be extremely out of the line. This is an example. Look at an outlier here. This 1000. By the time we draw a graph of this particular value, you will see that this 1000 will be way far from the line. Do you understand? Compared to other figures here. And same thing with 5. 5 will be way down. 1000 will be way up, right? Far from the values we have here. So those are outliers. So refers to data points that significantly differ from the rest of the observations in the data set. So it's a data point. It is way far from the rest of the observations in a data set. Then strategies for handling outliers. Data transformation. Transform the data to reduce the impact of outliers. We can transform the data in any form that you want. We've talked about the data transformation from the beginning, how to deal with missing values or values that are way higher than the observations in the data set. Number two, data inspection. Visually inspect the data using plots to identify potential outliers. If we do plots for this particular age, the outlier will be standing on its own up, while the second outlier too will be standing alone down, way far from the other age groups. So we have Z score. We calculate Z score for each data point to identify outliers. Z score is always, let me show you the value of Z score. I'm coming. It's always plus or minus value in. You're still seeing my screen. Did you see what I'm doing?
Mm, no,
Okay.
no, I can see your audio.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the formula for Z score is X minus the population mean divided by sigma. We would deep more into that by the time we get into the practical aspect. Though the computer is going to be the one to calculate all that for you. So there's no need to worry. Let me move on. Then there's winsorization. It replaces extreme values with less extreme values. Uh, in this kind of thing, I can find the average of the numbers here or the most occurring number and replace it with the outlier. Do you understand? So you can replace.
yeah,
Then dealing with duplicate values. Duplicate values is example of what I gave the other time. You have an original value on a column. You still now have the same value in another column on a data set. The duplicates are not necessary. Do you understand? There's also what to use it for. Once we have one original version of it, it refers to occurrence of identical records or observation within the data set. It's important to ensure data integrity and accuracy by handling duplicates. The best thing to do for duplicate is to delete it. That was what I said the other time, that duplicate values, you delete it. There is no need for occurrence of two same information in a data set. So delete duplicates within the data set to avoid basis analysis and modeling. Let's move to the next one. Importance and techniques of exploratory data analysis. We call it EDA. EDA.
EDA.
EDA. You see it? So the goal is to gain insight. You check for anomalies, you check for pattern, you check for trends. Once you see a data set, you need to, you know, understand the data set, what it's talking about. Let me look for a data set. Let me see. But I have to reshare my screen. Let me see if I can get a data set here. So I'll show you. Okay, beautiful. You can't see my screen, Abby.
I can see your screen, but it's just synchronized. Okay, I can see your screen.
What did you say?
I can see goals inside the discovery okay. And
Okay.
there's a
So
place
let me stop sharing.
social.
I want you to see my Excel sheet.
You stop sharing now.
Yes, I want to share the Excel sheet. Okay, can you see my Excel sheet?
So, hold on. Alaga, you need anything? Huh? Are you okay? If you need anything, let me know, okay?
Can you see it?
Oh, yeah. You can see the extension.
Okay. So once you look at a data set, what do you understand by this data set? You just looking at it like this. What do you understand by it? You should have an insight. Once you view a data set, what is this data set talking about? What can you say about it? I'm
You're just
waiting.
talking about this. It's talking about just an introduction of somebody's name here. Age, telling me about age, gender, occupation, a particular person's uh, data or things about a particular person.
Okay. So from this, you tried. This data set is specifically talking about people in the US. That's the number one thing. People in the US, and not just people in the US, people in particular states in the US, people in Chicago, people in out.
Philadelphia, people also
Mhm.
Lego, just like that.
So these are the people he's showing, and he's telling us about what they do, their gender,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yes,
their age, their names.
yeah.
And in this gender, there's already an issue that you can see already. Did you see the issue?
Yeah.
What's the issue in gender?
Um, in gender, we have only two types, male and female. So the others, I don't, you know, the
They are
issue with
picking
gender
other.
is other,
Yes, that's an
other.
issue. That's already an issue. So, uh, in this situation, if you were the one, what would you be using in this case? Mean, median, or mode? To replace the other.
I think it's more.
Yes, you're correct. A round of applause for you.
Okay.
A big round of applause for my students.
Okay.
Okay, so stop sharing this. Let me share the. Let's go with our discussion. Can you see my screen?
No, I can only see you.
It's gonna load up.
Okay.
It has loaded here. What about your side?
Yeah, something is out here.
Okay. Okay. So I was trying to make you understand EDA, that you need to gain insight, discover patterns. You have discovered the pattern at which they were answering, or they filled the way they filled the form for gender. We could already see the pattern. You understand? And
Yeah.
we already project a solution to as what we're supposed to do in that particular column. So then the crucial phase in data analysis process is the exploratory data analysis. You summarize, you interpret the data set characteristics. The example, we have improving campaign performance. So let's use this example. Emily, as a marketing manager, she noticed decline in campaign performance. It means that campaign performance is, let me give you an example of what they mean by campaign performance. It's like um, doing sponsored adverts on Instagram about a particular company or product that you guys sell. So let me go on. Then they contacted Alex, which is a data analyst, to conduct exploratory data analysis on the campaign data. That is, they gather the um, data set for the campaign performance and gave it to Alex to conduct exploratory data analysis on that particular data set. Then the discoveries from EDA that Alex performed was majority of conversions from social media were from social media ads. That is conversion. That what they mean by conversion is, for example, you did a sponsored advert online You are trying to sell an umbrella. Now, they notice that all the conversions from people coming from online were people coming from the advert that Instagram, for example. Then they also had video ads and they had user generated content drive high engagement. They have action, reallocation of budget. The action Alex suggested to them was to reallocate budget. They should prioritize video ads and user generated content. What it means is they noticed that the video advertisement they did, the sponsored advert they did, generated more sales. You understand? For the umbrella. So it is wise to put in more money into the advertisement. So they reallocated budget, you understand, to paying online since sales are coming from that place. Like a very good turn up. Now, expectation. What is expected from Alex decision or suggestion is that there should be improved performance in the next sponsored advert, in the next campaign. Do you understand? Which is any business person's mindset. And as a data analyst, you must have, you know, analyzed the data set given to you. We don't work with assumption, you work with facts. And the fact is derived from the exploratory data analysis that you performed on the company's campaign data set. So by the time it's giving the informed decision, is obviously going to perform well. They are going to get more sales in their next advert. So that is a very good and sweet example. Pattern discovery. You are identifying recurring structures or behaviors. You are uncovering patterns and trends. We've talked about that. Then visualizing it. One of the visualization that is very common or that is the most occurring self is graphical representation of what you have been analyzing, of what you have been talking about, of what you have been suggesting to them, of what you have been advising them on. Do you understand? You have to visualize it for a layman person to be able to understand what you have been analyzing. Then number four, it enables data-driven strategies. Outlier detection, we've talked about that. And the best way to even detect outlier is from graphical representation. You know, I was saying the other time that if you plot graph for that age group, 1,000 will be way above, while 5 will be way below, right? And it's going to show. So, and this it ensures integrity and accuracy of analysis. Then this is due QA, data quality assessment. You are assessing the quality of a data set. Proactive approach to data quality management. Rapid assessment of data quality. You yourself, by once you open a data set, once you see it, you will know if that data set is of quality. That data set I just opened recently that I just showed you now, it it was obvious that that data is not of top quality, right? Yes, because some people were picking order in gender option, which is not making sense. So, and that is that about that. Then uh, variable selection, understanding distribution characteristics of variables, impact on target outcome or response variable, filtering out irrelevant or redundant variables. Filtering out was us filtering order out of that gender options. Do you understand?
Options.
Yes. Order is not
Yes.
relevant. There's nothing like order in gender options.
Okay.
Yes, there's nothing like that. It is even recently that I saw that um, if you do some application to some schools, postgraduate studies, I mean, you will see in their gender options, they put female, male, transgender, I prefer not to say, as an option for people. Meanwhile, in our current society, we truly have transgender. So it is an option actually. Now, in a situation whereby they want to analyze that kind of data set, and we have some people that picked we prefer not to say. In that kind of thing, we will use mode for them. You understand? Mode is we picking a most occurring number and we replace it with I prefer not to say. Because I prefer not to say is not a gender option. Do you understand? It's not. And it's going to breach the quality of your data. By the time you are doing exploratory data analysis, it won't make sense. Then improving efficiency and effectiveness of analysis. Absolutely. That's what I just talked about. Then there's what we call hypothesis generation. You'll be formulating testable hypotheses. Yeah, we have a lot of hypotheses. We'll be going deeper into it as we move on. Then we have spark ideas, we have conjectures about underlying phenomena. We have exploring relationships. You can explore relationship. Now, what I mean by exploring relationship, from my data set, you can explore, do we have engineers as female child that are engineers? You understand? So that is you checking relationship. You'll be able to see it there. Okay, if you have engineer as how many females are engineers? Or how many engineers are females? Mhm. So that is that. Then uh, advancing scientific knowledge and evidence-based decision making. Scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge for me, I'm looking for a very good example of scientific knowledge or evidence based. Let's use evidence based. Evidence based will most likely be during rainy season, we will sell more of umbrellas, right? That's evidence based. Yes, people will buy more of umbrella in rainy season. That is evidence based. Then conclusion, unlock the true potential of your data. Exploratory data analysis is a journey of discovery, enlightenment, and transformation. Embrace the power of EDA. Thank you for listening. Uh, I don't want to bombard you with much. We've done three slides today. We'll continue next week. But I want you to go through these things. I want you to.
To go to it, to get to this slide about the problem.
How do you mean?
To get to that, I don't like this because of the marketing line. We would try that also you give me a control to get it. Very thing you left. But the other
Okay, you
thing
mean the link, Abby?
I don't know what. Yes.
It's just the same way you type Itunu Gbadamosi. But I can do this. I can pick each link of the videos and send to you. I can do that.
Okay.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
I don't want this video to be too long. So, at this junction, thank you for staying tuned. I remain your host, Itunu Gbadamosi.
My own. Itunu Gbadamosi. Oh, tí ọ̀nà ti parí wọ́n ló ti gbé lọ ní àgbà òun ní
I'm
òtí ẹ̀.
still there. Oh,
Ok,
I'm
mo ti
still
wẹ̀
there.
mo ti wẹ̀ mo ti lọ síbẹ̀.
I'm still there. This is my YouTube channel. I can do anything. I can do anyhow. And today I had to even use ring light so that my background can be very
Ó
nice.
yẹ kéèyàn lè lọ sí YouTube straight kéèyàn lè dáàbò orúkọ ìkọ́dé lọ síbẹ̀.
And that's what you did now. You typed the Itunu Gbadamosi. That was what you did. And I told you that you will not put
Only
space.
Chrome, I have to go to Chrome. I don't need to go to Chrome. Ó yẹ kí n lọ
No,
sí
if you
YouTube
have a
straight.
YouTube software, YouTube, if you can download, I downloaded YouTube on my laptop. So you can download YouTube
Ó
on
yà
your
mo sọ
laptop.
ni YouTube wà lórí laptop mi.
On the YouTube, you click on the search button on YouTube and type at Itunu Gbadamosi to bring it.
Ok, 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 ok. Orúkọ nìkan mi ò mọ̀ pé àti máa wà bẹ̀. Orúkọ
No,
nìkan
at
máa bẹ̀
is
sí.
like an handle now. That's my handle.
Ok, ok,
If you want to search for you
ok,
on Instagram too, you put at. So it's a link.
ok, ok.
Yes. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. I hope your head is not bombarded yet because we have not done anything.
Let's start.
We are just starting. We have not
Bó
done
ṣe ṣe
anything.
preamble like
Yes. Yes. But I'm enjoying every bit of it. So
yes. By the time we start practical, how interesting.
yeah, it should be. At least you have. I showed you some practical aspects of you looking at data set itself. So I love the fact that you could discover the pattern in that gender role, gender column, I mean, and you could see that order is a no-no in an option for gender. That gender is not working. So that kind of other gender, we have to replace it obviously, or else your data is inaccurate. It's not going to work. So let me end this stream.
Before before you go, please, I want to put on